30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is a hot, we can call it what you want. If you want to say warm, that's fine. It's hot. 90 degrees worth of hot in Nashville, Tennessee. Summer is here. It's almost like we had no spring, but now we have morphed into summer in a big old hurry. As you can see in the background, we're at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. These are our new digs. Tomorrow we will have the second of our sports speaker series beginning at 11:30. Vanderbilt Athletic Director Candace Lee will be the featured topic. We'll do about an hour and 15 minutes with her. We'll allow questions out of the audience. I'll say this right now. If you happen to be watching this live and you want to come to the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com, and we will get you on the list. Now, it's not the only thing going on at the Ford Ice Center. They've got a goaltender camp going on that is taught by one of the greats. Former Predator goaltender coach Mitch Korn is at this very moment putting a bunch of young would-be goaltenders through the paces. It was good to see him about 15 minutes ago, and Mitch Korn's good stuff. Did a great job with the Predators, now with the New York Islanders, and anyway, it was good to see him. Let's check in up in Murfreesboro, say hello to Mr. Kelly Holcomb.
That's right. You be sure to put that Mr. on there, George.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Who's that behind you?
That's my 5-year-old son. Got a family portrait that I used to buy at an auction every year when we would go to Toots. I got a good friend, Wade Hayes, and he owns Toots. And when we came back into town, we'd go to his 4th of July deal up there, and I would buy a portrait from Alan Lovelace, who is a big photographer here in town, and it would have cost way more if I would have just bought it from him instead of buying it at auction. So I used to buy those like every year. So we got a good portrait there.
Good for you. Excellent. Did you have a good weekend?
It was okay. It was driving a bunch. I got that traffic on 65 was awful coming up from Alabama. We got 4 miles from the 840 exit, and they had a wreck and a car caught on fire.
Oh, ugh.
I think everybody was okay. It was a young kid. His parents showed up. I know they were totally shocked, but the whole front of his car was melted. It's crazy. Oh, wow. And we only had to stay in traffic for about 30 and 35 minutes. I thought we'd be there for hours.
Yeah. You're lucky.
Oh, I know.
Billy, did you have a good weekend?
I did. I was in Kelly's stomping grounds in Murfreesboro for a bachelor party on Saturday, so it was good being. I don't get to Murfreesboro much, but I got a cousin that lives out there, and it's crazy how it's changed. I mean, George and I were there, to visit you, Kelly, about a month or two ago, and I mean, it's crazy. It looks like one of the Brentwoods or the Franklins with everything they've got going on out there. It's crazy. But
traffic's crazy.
Traffic is horrible. Yeah. When I was in school here, there wasn't many people here. There was still quite a bit, but it just started growing. And now if you start at a certain time of day, you're trying to get to the north side of town, you can't do that in 45 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. It feels a lot like Nashville. It's like you don't even really get out of Nashville.
Who'd have thunk it?
Not me.
Okay. David, you're doing well.
Yeah, George, I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Big win last night by the Braves. So hopefully that'll catapult them to a hot streak this homestand. Got the Metropolitans coming to town tomorrow. So.
Rallied from the dead. Grand slam in the 9th inning. By the way, Michael Soroka made his second start. It was not particularly good. He got optioned, I guess, back to Gwinnett. I think that's the right move. He told me a couple of weeks before he got called up that he didn't think he was quite there yet. I don't think it's got anything to do with velocity. It's more location. That used to be his stock and trade. As he told me, home plate in 2019 looked like a beach ball. He told me he could put it anywhere he wanted. Not quite at that point yet. So don't give up on him, because there will be better days coming for him.
Is he giving you some, George? Is he giving you some kickbacks?
No, but he's one. Kelly, let me put it this way. If he were to return to 80% of what he was in 2019, we're going to win it all.
Oh, really?
There's a lot to be said about a guy coming off 2 ACL surgeries, just his demeanor and his fight to get back to the big leagues. You could tell in Oakland how much it meant to him to get back out on the mound. Braves fans, they love him to death. They're waiting for that moment for him to get back on the mound in Atlanta in front of that crowd. But he's a good kid, and the Braves are going to be really good when he gets back to full form.
If he were to get back to full form, they're going to be really good.
So the Braves put him on assignment this time. So they put him back down to.
I don't know. I don't know what the terminology is. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he has minor league options. You get 5 of them. So this will be his second one. So they don't have to release him or anything like that. He'll just go back to AAA, get his work in. Yeah. They transferred Max Fried to the 60-day IL, which is some news. Wondering when they're going to get him and Kyle Wright back. But what from him?
So you didn't see retroactive to win?
I didn't, but this makes it seem like A.J. Smith-Sawyer is going to get the start in the Washington series coming this weekend. He looked good last night coming out of the field. They're having to tread water right now. They're having to rely on their offense more than their pitching. And this Mets series, it would help them if they could find a way to win. Is it a 3-game series? It is a 3-game series.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
And they're facing Scherzer tomorrow and Verlander on Wednesday. So that's going to be a tall task.
To hell with them. Both great pitchers, both headed to the Hall of Fame, and both super competitors. So what I just said, I mean with all due respect, because they are both warriors. Billy, what do you got for an update?
Well, there was an NBA game last night.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Game 2 of the finals, and the Heat get it done. They find a way late, and the Nuggets got it back close late, and it's almost like the Nuggets might find a way to pull it out, but they beat the Nuggets 111-108 despite 41 points from Jokic. Gabe Vincent had 23. Adebayo had a good night, 21. But this is with Butler struggling from the field again. He was 7 of 19, and that's got to be a good sign if you're the Heat.
It is.
Butler hasn't played particularly well, shot the ball well. He's done good, defensively, and he's rebounded and, things of that nature. But, the Heat are winning without Butler being Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy.
Last night, they got great contributions off the bench. Help me with the kid.
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. I blanked on it for a second. Duncan Robinson, since he got into the NBA, will hit any wide open 3 you give him. But now he's learned to take it to the bucket. As Jeff Van Gundy pointed out last night, he's become a real force coming off the bench. That's a real luxury for them.
Well, he's starting to be able to do stuff with the dribble, George, getting himself open. That's what we've talked about. And he took it to the go strong quite a bit. And he got 10 points like in 2 minutes last night. Yeah. It was crazy. He kind of gave them a jolt. And that's really how they got ahead in the game. He came in and gave them a spark, and then it just went from there.
Well, and I told George this earlier before we got on. It didn't look like the Nuggets were particularly interested most of the game defensively.
No, and I don't get that.
And Michael Malone after the game, he said, "This is the NBA Finals. We're talking about effort. This is a huge concern of mine."
He was royally pissed off.
And I sat there. I'm saying, how is it? This is the finals.
I don't know.
It's almost like they're playing, the first round, and they're kind of coasting through. we got Jokic. He'll give us a triple-double. They've got to step up, or else Miami, they could win both these if they don't play better.
It feels like this series is going to come down to, can Denver get a game in Miami? If they do, they're probably going to win the series. If they don't, they probably aren't.
Here's
probably
my thought.
that simple.
Like Jokic is going to get his points. He got 41 last night. The guy's he's like unguardable. Like some of the shots that the guy makes it's just crazy. But Jamal Murray didn't play well last night. He only had 10 points going into the fourth quarter, and then he shot those 2 threes. He got hot at the right time. But, like, it's normally Jokic and Jamal Miller, and if they're on sync together, they're going to win the game. But if one of them plays – and Jokic is going to get his points, but Jamal Murray has got to play – if he doesn't play better, the Miami Heat collectively is a really good basketball team, and they understand that. They play good team ball. But if Jamal Murray does not step up, the Heat will get him again.
And they have a future Hall of Fame coach in Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah,
Spoelstra. A lot of people don't know that much about him. He's been kind of quiet in the background shadows of Pat Riley. He doesn't need to be in anybody's shadows. He is a really good coach.
The real stat to watch with Jokic is his assist numbers. His assists were down last night, only 4 assists. They're 0-3 in games where he scored 40 points in the playoffs this year. So him assisting and dishing out is how they win basketball games.
That's true.
Tough weekend for a couple of college baseball teams, and one of them was Vanderbilt. They're done. Second straight exit from the NCAA regionals. That's the first time in 14 years that Vandy has gone consecutive years without a super. So something like this doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for a Tim Corbin program, and it was after a 4-hour weather delay. They lose 2-1 to Xavier, and they're done.
Now, I know in a minute we're having probably as good a baseball historian as this city has in Skip Nipper. Skip, I know you can hear this. I'll tell you what it felt like last night. They had this long weather delay, and so when they finally get back into playing, it was, I want to say, 8 o'clock. The first thing I thought of was the Billy Martin, George Brett Pine Tar thing, where Steinbrenner went to court, if I remember correctly, trying to overturn Lee McPhail's ruling to blow off the Pine Tar thing. And finally, when they did play the bottom of the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium, Kansas City, because of Brett's homer that was ruled legal, Kansas City had a 1-run lead. They opened Yankee Stadium, had about 500 people there. And that's what last night felt like to me in the 9th inning. I was like, this is Yankee Stadium without Steinbrenner.
That's amazing, George, that you thought about that just because of the weather delay.
I did. And I'll guarantee you, Skip, I know Skip's hearing this, and he's probably got some story I don't know about it. We may hear in a couple of minutes. Go ahead, Billy.
Well, it's crazy. What do you do in that 4 hours? I mean, you've got you're down to your final 3 outs, and for 4 hours.
Don't ask.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that. But
don't ask.
Tennessee is still playing. They advanced to the Super Regionals for the
big weekend.
Big weekend for the Vols. 3rd straight season for them. If Penn wins today, Tennessee will host a Super Regional. But if Southern Miss wins today, it'll be up in the air. There's some experts out there saying Southern Miss would have the edge to host because of their bid. But, I mean, if you're in the NCAA tournament, would you rather see that series in Knoxville or down in Hattiesburg?
Well, now let me say this. If Southern Miss outbid Tennessee to host, shame on Danny White. And I'll guarantee you Tony Vitello will be in his office giving him an earful. That should never happen. When you look at those two schools' budgets, if that story is true that Southern Miss outbid Tennessee, Vitello will go nuts.
Well, it's
privately.
It's funny you say that. Southern Miss probably has a little bit nicer facility. I don't know if you've seen their stadium. They've done a lot of work to it. Their coach there this is last year. He's going to retire after this year. If this was Tennessee maybe 3 years down the road with because I think facilities come into this bid, right? Because if you remember in 2018, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, they were up for a couple of 2-seed bids, and Vanderbilt got the nod because Mississippi State, they were under construction. So I don't know
Right.
what all goes into that bid, but you're right. Vitello.
Here's what goes into that bid. Can everybody
money.
see that?
Well, how is it even a question then?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I have a feeling Tony Vitello is asking Danny White, and he's asking him loudly.
I will say this: some of the smaller schools, like me being at Troy quite a bit, they just had a renovation to their stadium. Their stadium's unbelievable. Some of these smaller schools, they've got really good programs and really good facilities. So it's I don't know if you're losing anything. Of course, I've been to Southern Miss to watch football and to do a game there, but I never saw their baseball facility. So I don't know. I know that baseball is one of those deals where that you can compete no matter what level you're at. You look at Lipscomb last year that Tennessee was really good and they beat Tennessee. So you just never know with baseball.
By the way, the Saturday night game, Tennessee Clemson, best NCAA baseball tournament game thus far. It was an instant classic. May not have felt that way to Clemson, but it certainly did to Tennessee.
So many times it felt over. It's like it's over. Clemson was down to their final strike.
Yeah, it had more twists and turns than an auto race.
I mean, and their pitcher, Caden Grice, was one strike away from throwing a complete game.
Yeah.
9-inning game.
But the home run that tied it was a tape measure. That thing still trades. It just landed in the Atlantic Ocean.
Hey, did y'all see that? Did y'all see talking about baseball? Did y'all see the kid from TCU that had 3 home runs and 11 RBIs?
How about that?
2 grand slams in the same inning.
Yeah, 2 grand slams.
Give him some NIL money.
Good gracious.
What else, Billy?
We've got a few games, not just a few. We've got 7 winner-take-all games today. Arkansas and TCU going on right now. What was the final earlier today, David? Florida beats Texas Tech. They are headed to a super.
6-zip.
Yeah, so they won 6-zip. They had to beat them twice, by the way. LSU's up on Oregon State 4-2 in the 4th inning. And you've also got Penn and Southern Miss. A lot of Vol fans watching that one.
I bet they are.
Oh, yeah. Indiana, Kentucky tonight at 5. Coastal Carolina and Duke tonight at 5 o'clock as well. That's an elimination game. And then Texas A&M and Stanford later tonight as well. So best time of year for college baseball, no doubt. George, NFL Titans news. The Buffalo Bills have signed first-round pick from 2019, Ed Oliver, to a 4-year, $68 million
How does that affect the Titans?
extension. Well, the Titans news is a little bit later.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But so, yeah, NFL, the Bills have also agreed to terms on a 1-year deal with pass rusher Leonard Floyd. And he's about 30 years old. He will add pass rush help in that room.
Kelly, what's he saying?
I don't know, but I don't know. Did you bring the Bills up for me? If you did, go Bills.
Yeah, but I was trying to talk
Titans news. Dun, da, da, da.
I was trying to talk about their pass rush room that includes Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills are happy to have Floyd
People
back.
don't care. People don't care about that down here, Billy. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, I'll have to say, David put the Bills nugget in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're blaming
so we're going to blame David.
I'm not going to waste David.
Shift the blame.
You can override that if you'd like, Billy. You can override it. You don't have to say it.
You were here first.
I don't want to waste his work that he put in for the research.
Do we have Titans news? Is there something of some importance here in early June?
Restricted free agent Tier Tart has signed his second-round tender for $4.3 million in time for the start of today's minicamp.
Well, bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Is that your update?
You don't have to work anymore.
We're almost done, George.
Almost. Guys, Skip Nipper's about to fall asleep over there.
Poor guy. Michael Vick and Larry Fitzgerald and Terrell Suggs are among the former players on the College Football Hall of Fame ballot. I've heard Vick and Fitzgerald were pretty good college players, so no surprise there. There's your update, George.
You heard that? Check out some footage. They were pretty good.
Jeez. Were you even born when they played?
I don't think I was.
Good gracious, Billy. Grow up.
Now, that's a lie. They were in college when we were born. They're not that old.
What year were they in college?
I don't know.
Early 2000s?
I want to get to Skip Nipper.
We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this.
Yes.
George, screw y'all. He wants to talk baseball.
After the break, probably the best baseball historian in this city, Skip Nipper, will join us. And we're going to get into a topic that very few of you probably have thought of, but I'll give you the hint. Savannah Bananas. We'll talk about that when we come back.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
If you're looking for a football camp for your son or daughter that stresses the fundamentals and doing things right, let me suggest the Hometown Football Camp. Here's former MTSU quarterback Wes Counts.
The Hometown Football Camp is a youth football camp at Battleground Academy, June 19th through 21st. This is a working skills camp for young football players to learn proper technique and skills to prepare them for the upcoming season. Our coaches have won championships at both high school and college levels and are eager to pass along their knowledge. So if the young football player in your life wants to be successful this fall, send them to the Hometown Football Camp. Register at hometownfootballcamp.com. That's hometownfootballcamp.com.
Hey, before I bring Skip Nipper on, shame on me for this not being the first thing that came out of the chute today. Kelly and I lost a great friend, an incredible friend of the National Football Foundation College Hall of Fame that he and I are both on the board of. Bob Hyde passed away Friday night after a battle with cancer. Those of us who knew Bob Hyde, whether it was from National Football Foundation or the Tennessee Titans, absolutely heartbroken. Our deepest thoughts and prayers and sympathies go out to Bob's family. Kelly, he is going to be missed.
Yeah, I got to know Bob through the foundation, and he's such a remarkable guy, and he did so much for our foundation too, and I'm sure he did a bunch when he was with the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, he's with that organization for many years, but couldn't have found a nicer guy who was willing to step up and do things. You don't get people like that anymore. And he was anything you needed him to do, he would do it. And I knew he had been sick for a while, and you told me he had been sick, and I asked about him, and then you texted me the other night. It's just such a sad deal. I hate that happened to Bob, but he had gotten really, really sick, George.
Okay, I'm glad we remembered to put that out there. Skip Nipper has become a really good friend. He is probably, I would put him and Larry Schmittou as two of the real baseball historians in our city. And he called me Saturday he was going to see the Savannah Bananas, which, best as I can tell, is sort of a baseball version of the Harlem Globetrotters. So let's bring Skip up here and get him to join us. So is that a Bananas hat?
I bought the cap. It's not a hat, it's a cap. I
Okay.
bought the cap, I bought the t-shirt, and I bought a baseball. I didn't buy a yellow one because it was a little bit more, but I bought a t-shirt, but I didn't wear it today because I slept in it last night. So I was a kid at heart during that game, I guess.
I love it.
Yeah.
So both Friday and Saturday night sold out?
George, it was amazing the number of people that were there, and they weren't just there when they opened the gates. They were there as early as, I don't know, 4:15 or 4:30. A couple of high school buddies and I got together and went. We stopped and had a bite to eat, not really realizing what was happening. There was a parade. There were players outside the gates that were saying hello to the fans and giving autographs, and it was just a party atmosphere from the get-go.
Skip, best as you know, how did the Savannah Bananas come to be?
As I know, there was a new woodbat league, collegiate woodbat league, that was formed down in the Southeast. The Savannah baseball team had lost their minor league club, and they came up with this idea to join this woodbat league, and we called them the Savannah Bananas, which was genius, I guess. Everything was yellow. The uniforms were yellow and whatnot. And I think they left that league last year and became what we remember as a barnstorming team from the old Negro leagues and other all-star teams that traveled off-season. And it's just went like crazy. Everywhere they go, they sell out. I think they went to Rickwood Field last year in Birmingham and sold it out. I'm not sure they've had a sellout in Rickwood Field in 40 years. Wrigley Field, I think, but they play about 80 games, and it's just crazy how many fans want to go see the games. It's hard to get a ticket unless you get it early.
So in what I remember of the Harlem Globetrotters, there was it the New Jersey Generals they were always playing?
They know a variety of names. I think the Washington Generals and
Washington
the so-and-so
Generals,
Shamrocks. Yeah. I saw them play out at the Municipal Auditorium years ago. Now, if that's basketball, the Savannah Bananas is baseball. Now, a lot of fans, maybe guys my age and older, would say this is not baseball. Well, the format is baseball. These guys are playing, and they're pretty good baseball players playing too.
Anybody in other words, if I said, okay, throw me a name, is there a name or two that either one of us would know?
Not on the regular roster. Barry Zito pitched the sixth inning, the top of the sixth.
Really?
And I understand Bill Spaceman Lee was there, but I didn't see him, and I don't know that he played, but I read in the paper that he was there. But Zito pitched the sixth inning. In the bottom of the sixth inning, they gave him a guitar, and he stood in the third base coach's box and played a song while the game's going on. I mean, there's music. Now, if you've been to a college or a minor league baseball game, usually the music, and it can be loud, is in between innings. This is music the whole time. When we first got there, we heard Feliz Navidad. We heard the YMCA song. I mean, you hear it all, but it's all to involve the fans, and they really do a great job getting the fans involved. It's brilliant.
So would you say this was better than you even thought it would be?
I didn't realize what a spectacle it was. I thought there was more, I won't say that more competition, because they were competing, they were playing. But on the other hand, in about the eighth inning, when the guy that comes up to bat for the Bananas is on stilts, and it was great. He got a single. He made it to first. He ran like a giraffe would run, as you can imagine. And by the time he got to first and the next batter came out, the next batter singled, and they did throw him out at second. But I don't know how he kept from breaking his neck. So that part of it is a little comical. The players come out between innings. Maybe they'll take their shirts off and dance around, and it's just an amazing concept that they've come up with. And it's, like I say, it's pretty good. It's entertaining.
So give me a couple of things that they do that would not be a normal baseball game that were big hits with the fans.
Catching, if a fan catches a foul ball in the stands, the batter is out. And a couple of times that happened, and the players go up and get the person. It was a kid, I think, in the upper deck one, And the first one was a guy that caught it. They brought him right out on the field, took him over to the dugout, and I couldn't see what he did because I was above the third base dugout. But anyway, they hoot and holler and give him credit for making that fine catch, and it was a fine catch.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like
I said, there's a whole lot of dancing. They can be replays, and I understand. I don't think it happened, but I read in some of the rules before the game that some of the fans can call for the replay. So, I mean, and the other thing I found was somebody threw a banana out on the field, and it turned out it was the coach, and that meant that he was appealing the play. He was challenging, and the umpire, one of the umpire on the bases, goes to look at the video replay, and the other umpire behind the plate is dancing like crazy. I don't know where he got the energy and to call a ball game, but it's really fun.
I feel like Skip would be the secret person that came up with all this stuff that nobody knows about.
No, but I read where Jesse Cole, I think it's Jesse, had written a book, but he also comes up with these ideas, and he said that he comes up with 10 new ideas every game, during the game or after the game, but 15 new somethings happen every game. That's how many things that they try to incorporate into the game. I mean, you saw the worm. you saw it all. These guys weren't really power hitters, but it was kind of cool. They had a home run contest before the game. The umpires go out in the outfield and call whether it's a home run or not, but not during the game. It's just a wild day. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
If we can put the picture back up with the scoreboard in the background. Look at that.
Yeah.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And a lot of times during the game, they also showed the split screen with the Party Animals was the team that tours with them. And it was they wore pink and black, which you don't see too much on the ball field, but it was just great. I mean, everything is yellow. I bought my wife a T-shirt. They were out of yellow T-shirts. Had to buy her a green one. Mine was blue because they were out of the yellow ones. But they sell a lot of merchandise too. They've got it figured out.
Yeah,
10,000 plus people. It's nuts. It's really nuts. Yep. I came home from my wife wanted to know if I had a good time, and I said, "Well, the Bananas slipped into Music City, and it was very appealing."
That's awesome.
Let me like that one.
I did. Kelly Holcomb is also in here. Let's see what he's got for you.
How you doing, Skip? Hey, that's the greatest. I've never heard of them. I mean, when I was a kid, I was thinking back. When I was a kid in Fayetteville, we had the King in his court. I don't know if you ever remember those guys. They came down there, and this guy's throwing a softball like 100 miles per hour from where those girls throw softball. And I'm like, good crazy. I got up there and I was scared to death, but I've never heard of a baseball team. Like, I know how you could incorporate all the stuff in basketball, but baseball is like, that's kind of crazy. So I would like to see it.
Well, you're going to have to go to another city now because they left town, I think. But I think they still play some home games in Savannah. You can go to SavannahBananas.com and get their schedule. I'm sure they're still not quite halfway through their season.
Where do they get all their kids from? I mean, are they college kids? Or I'm sure
most of them kids. I think most of them are college kids. I think they do some recruiting, which there's a spot on their website where you can actually apply. They bring their own band with them. I don't know how many piece band. I asked Doug Scopel from the Sounds if that was local, and he said no. They carry a contingent of about 80 people with them to all these places. Play 4, 5, 6 games a week. They have a band that marches with them. It comes out on the field at an odd time. They do sing-alongs with the fans. And yes, Eddie Feiner was a great one too. That was one of the early ones. I remember seeing them play out at TPS years ago, and I saw Jackie Charlton, an amateur player, hit 2 home runs off of Eddie Feiner, which goes down in the annals of Nashville amateur baseball history.
So they're actually playing baseball, though. I mean, it's obviously music, and they're trying to get the fans, but they're actually playing baseball.
They're playing a game. You don't win the game, and there's no standings. They're not in a league. I don't know if they're still in the league in the Summer Collegiate League or not, but they don't win by the final score. If the Party Animals score 1 run in an inning and the Bananas score 2 runs, the Bananas win that inning. And so the winner of the game is whoever has won the most innings. There's a 2-hour time limit. They don't play after that. There's a way that they can ask you. Yeah. And there's a fireworks display afterwards. It's a lot of fun.
So the fans loved it. I mean, everybody loved it.
Yeah, and a lot of kids. I can see where the kids just went crazy over it. Now, if they take that that style of play back to their amateur league in the little league, and they start doing some of those shenanigans. I'm not sure how that'll go over, but it's a lot of fun. The kids just loved it. Well, the parents did too.
Yeah, well, that's a really cool deal because I've never heard of them. And George was telling me, and I'm like, what is the deal with this Savannah Bananas, George? I don't know anything about it, and I've never heard of that. That's a good idea for whoever created it.
Well, back in the Negro leagues, like I said earlier, the Indianapolis Clowns did something similar with jugglers and all kinds of antics on the field. A player would wear a giant baseball glove. They would dance and do all kinds of things and have beauty contests and concerts along with the games when they traveled. I think there were some all-star teams that didn't quite do that. Roy Campanelli, even Jackie Robinson had traveling teams off-season. They didn't do those kind of antics. But for entertainment, that's what the value of it is. It's not who won the game. It's what they do. And you do find, just like attending a Harlem Globetrotters game, that these guys are pretty good ball players. I couldn't tell you a name. I don't think that's important. I couldn't tell you a single name other than Barry Zito and Bill Spaceman Lee that were a part of that.
So will they go all over, obviously, and do they go to major league stadiums every now and then or not?
Yeah,
really?
I think they've been to Wrigley Field. Well, I think they're still due to go to Wrigley Field. I know they were going to be in LA. They just go all over, I guess, anywhere that they can get a space to play a game.
Well, that's a cool story. I know George got some questions to ask you here. He's about expansion and all that. I'm sure he's going to talk about it. He talks about it every week.
Me too.
I mean, I'm literally over it,
Skip, here's where I do want to go, though. Those who have ever seen the movie Bull Durham, there was Max Patkin, who was a great entertainer. Then it was Ted Giannoulis, Greek, who was the San Diego Chicken. And Skip, you've never heard me tell this story, but back when I did sounds games when I was in college, one of my jobs was to get a pregame show interview. So I went to Ted Giannoulis and asked him for an interview, and he turned me down. And I told him in Greek. And he took a look at me and I said, listen, Hoss, I said, you and I are the same deal.
Yeah.
I'm Greek. You're Greek. Well, we had a laugh over it. He did the interview, but baseball has always had in the background an entertainer or two. Max Patkin, the Chicken. Now this. Is it that this sport just lends itself more to it?
Well, basketball certainly does too. Certainly football does not, and I have no clue about anything soccer. So I'm a guess that it just falls into place. Number one, you get a chance to fill a stadium when your team is out of town, and I think that's part of the attraction. We want to be entertained. I go to a Nashville Sounds game. I love the Nashville Sounds. I love what they do. I love baseball, period. In fact, I told Doug the other day, I'll be back at the ballpark a little bit more now that Vanderbilt gets beat, which they did. And I've been going to the Vanderbilt games. But I'll tell you, I think people are thirsty for baseball. And I think that's also going to lead into what you're probably going to ask me a minute about expansion. I think people in Nashville are thirsty for continued baseball.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's what it probably comes down to.
I've stuck my neck out on more than one occasion. Of course, I was born here, East Nashville kid. I think this is as good a baseball town as there is because I remember the foundation of the old Nashville Vols, and certainly you still talk about the Nashville Elite Giants, the Baltimore Elite Giants, and the black community. But I'll tell you, it goes back that far. And if it goes back that far, your dad took you to a game or your grandfather took you to a game, and we're still remembering those games, and we'd like to continue that. Right now we have the Sounds. I can't respond to what's going to happen to them if baseball comes here at the major league level. But, I mean, it's what we have, and we need to be going to the Nashville Sounds game and watching the games and supporting them no matter what. We want baseball, and we thrive on baseball. I do, and I think you do too.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you for taking the time to do this. You had to sit through our crazy update. I saw you laughing at one point.
Well, I'm not Mr. You gave me an accolade I don't deserve. There are lots of people that study baseball in Nashville, and I appreciate that. And I really appreciate you having me on. I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Good to be
Love
with you.
doing it. Let's do it again sometime.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Skip Nipper, I call him a baseball historian. Whatever the case, the guy loves baseball and he knows baseball. And speaking of baseball, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about Vandy's Super Regional, Tennessee's Super Regional, other things going on, get you a scoreboard update as well. Stay tuned as we go to the break. Let me talk about the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Okay, you see the date at the bottom of the screen, August the 4th through the 6th. And I'm not going to lie to people. I've never been to a Grand Prix. And a lot of you watching this, you're probably in the same boat. But here's what has happened. In the last couple of years, this thing has taken off and it has gotten people's attention. And a lot of those people have been like me, never been before, had no idea what they were getting into, and came away saying it's one of the coolest things they've ever been involved in. August the 4th through the 6th, I'll be there. I can't wait to see what it is I've missed out on. You notice the word music. This group has put 3 days of music together around the racing that is incredible. Tickets are now on sale. They have been for about 6 weeks. You can go to their website, musiccitygp.com. That's musiccitygp.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to donleytimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Bear Difference at beardifference.com.
So we've got a lot of NCAA baseball tournament stuff going on. You know what's interesting, Kelly, 20 years ago, nobody really seemed to care. This is one of the things that ESPN has done. They have elevated NCAA baseball tournament activity to something really cool. And people have really gotten into it. It is so much more popular than it was 20, 30 years ago. It's not even funny.
Well, I remember watching it as a kid because I was a huge baseball kid growing up, and I can remember watching it. Roger Clemens back in the day with Texas, and Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I mean, it was really exciting back in those days, and media is it's gotten so big now, George, that every game's on TV. They've done the same thing with softball. I watched softball a couple of years ago, and I could not believe it. My daughter came in and said, "Dad, you're watching softball?" And I'm like, this is actually pretty exciting. I mean, those girls, I'm still not used to the girls chanting all these things in the dugout, but they have fun with it, and it's exciting to watch. So it's cool what ESPN has done. They've definitely got a platform now for college baseball and women's softball in college.
Yeah, it's become a big June sport. Billy?
Yeah, Oklahoma has just beat Stanford in extra innings to advance to their fourth straight Women's College World Series championship series.
Now, what is that? Like victory number 52 in a row or something?
51 or 52, something like that.
Yeah.
They've won over 50 straight games.
Crazy.
So, first of all, anything new scoreboard update-wise on the men's side?
So LSU has extended their lead over Oregon State. They now lead 6-2 in the bottom of the fifth. So it looks like they're going to advance to a super if they hold this lead. Arkansas has to beat TCU twice. So today, and then would the next game be later tonight? I think the next game would be later tonight. They can't play tomorrow. So got to win 2 games in a day. Bottom of the second, Arkansas leads 1-0. So that's good for Hog fans. This is a volunteer scoreboard update. Penn leads Southern Miss 2-1 in the top of the fourth. So we'll see if the Quakers can beat the Eagles there.
So Tennessee thinks they want Penn to win.
Because they're a lock to host a super regional in Knoxville. But if Southern Miss wins, it gets a little hairy.
You know, it was interesting watching Tennessee. There was a lot of pressure a year ago, Kelly. They were the top seed. You know, everybody expected them to go the distance, and it didn't happen. And it feels like maybe with them less on the radar screen this year, that look what's happening.
That's what me and Danny Evans talked about the other day, George. It's all about expectations. And when you start reading press clippings, they had a phenomenal year last year. There were only one other team in the SEC to ever win the tournament, not lose a game. I think that was LSU back in the day. So they had an unbelievable year, but when everybody's praising you and telling you you're this good and you're the best team that's ever come there and you're the best team that UT has ever had, and all these guys start reading their press clippings and all, it's inevitable what's going to happen. You're going to lose because the pressure starts mounting, and you just can't live up to the expectations that you've done to yourself. When they started losing in that Notre Dame game, we've talked about it here. Guys puckered up. I mean, that's what happens. And when you start talking, when you start reading press clippings, you put more pressure on yourself. That's why you should just not worry about it. Let other people talk to you. And that's why it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee goes all the way this year, because they don't have the expectations they had last year. They feel like they got slighted. They feel like, obviously, they felt like they didn't play very well in that series that they had in Knoxville, and they got beat. And they're looking to get over that hump and get back to the College World Series out in Omaha and see if they can win that thing. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, George.
David has talked on this a lot, and he played baseball at the college level, how big of a momentum game it is and how one pitch can change an entire season.
Absolutely.
That home run Zane didn't hit in the top of the ninth to take the 5-4 lead, I think it was, looked like that might have sort of been the catapult for Tennessee, because I agree with you, Kelly. They feel a lot like that Ole Miss team of last year. Now, Tennessee Ole Miss was the last team in last year. Tennessee was in as a 2 seed. But when you have a pitching staff with as much depth as they do and they play to their capability, it's scary. Dave and I were talking about it. You don't want to face a staff like that, especially with bats like that. And they're loose. They're playing loose. Last year, Kelly, they weren't. That Notre Dame team came into Knoxville and they were focused.
Well, you also take Billy. You also take on the personality of your head coach, and whether you like him or not, Tony Vitello. I mean, he's a confident dude. He's brought something to UT that they haven't had, and they resemble his personality. Like, okay, we'll throw that off, just like they did in the SEC tournament. They knew they weren't going to win it, so he wasn't going to use pitchers in that, and I can understand. I get that, but like, that's kind of the personality that they have. I don't care what you do. We're still going to win at some point. We're going to win the series. So that has a lot to do with not only baseball, but any sport you're playing. You have to believe, and he's got those kids believe they can beat anybody.
I don't know if you saw it, George, but after that double play, I forget what inning it was. It might have been the 10th, one of those extra innings. Vitello got up out of the dugout and looked like I thought he was a player the way he was celebrating.
Yeah.
I mean, they do almost whatever they want on the field.
You know, the whole pucker up factor, if that's what you want to call it. You could feel the pressure yesterday at Hawkins Field.
I'm sure.
By about the 6th inning, as Vandy's offensive struggles became more and more obvious. Even when they were leading 1-0, you were like, oh, I don't know that one is going to do it. Billy, you could feel the pressure.
Well, here's the deal, George. It starts mounting when guys are not hitting and they go through a couple of series or they go through a couple of innings and they're just not putting the bat on the ball. And then, then the 4th inning, then the 5th inning, then the 6th inning, then the guys start looking up the scoreboards like, we only got 9 more outs. We got to do something. And then every guy gets up there and they're like, we got to start this thing. And you put more pressure on yourself and just instead of going up there and just playing. And that's what happens in sports. I've dealt with it in my career. I can remember I pressed. That's a whole deal. And I've tried to explain to my daughter and my son that played college sports that it's human nature to press. It's human nature to do that. But if you can just sit there and breathe and relax and say, hey, this is something that I've been doing my whole life. God gave me the ability to do it. Just get up there and whatever happens, happens. But when you start pressing and when you start, man, I've got to start this thing off, it's just not going to happen.
It's also human nature in a regional setup to look ahead when you're in the loser's bracket.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You think if we can just get by Xavier, just get by Xavier, you got to believe that was in their minds.
Oh.
But, oh, goodness, we got to beat Oregon twice. That crept into their heads. It
did.
I mean, these are young kids. They're 19, 20, 21 years old. You could feel a look ahead there. And Corbin said it last night. He said, this Xavier team, that's going to be the toughest game of tomorrow, just getting by them. And you saw it. They were pressing all night at the plate. It looked like, and George said this earlier, how it looked like they were going for the big bomb most of the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of go for the downs. Enrique Bradfield, young guy who's got a ton of speed, has been sort of their offensive catalyst. When he gets on, suddenly the 2, 3, and 4 hitter get a lot of fastballs because they know he's going to take off. Well, he didn't get on base in that series. He was 0 for the series. And while I'm not going to pin it all on him because that's a team deal, that hurt him.
Yeah, and you saw in the SEC tournament, when he got on base, they were winning, right? When he gets on base, it's more times than not. 2 pitches later, he's at third because he's the fastest player on the planet. So he's the catalyst. And when he's not getting on, you hate placing it on him. But the way they're built, that offense, it's sort of built around him.
That's like saying, look, the Braves are a lot better when Ronald Acuna is on fire.
Yeah.
And, whether it's home runs, because he has hit some tape measures this year. This guy has been locked down the National League MVP for the first 2 months of the season. If it continues, I like that team's chances, just to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and the old saying with baseball is you can't steal first base. You have to find that ability to get on base. I was so impressed with Tennessee, though, because they flipped the script on their season. They have not played well defensively all year. In extra innings, they were phenomenal. Turned that double play with 1 out to save going into the losers bracket, and they were able to play small ball. We have not seen Tennessee play small ball in so long. They're a team predicated on the long ball, hitting home runs. They lay down multiple sack bunts in that extra inning game. That's what's going to win in Omaha, particularly at TD Ameritrade.
Because that park is huge.
It's the Grand Canyon.
It is the Grand. I've been. It's the Grand Canyon.
You're not going to hit it out of there. And Tennessee's pitching, like Billy said, you don't want to face Dolander, Burns, Lindsey. Like, all those guys are dominant. Drew Beam is their number 3. He was SEC Freshman of the Year last year. They're really good. They're going to ride this wave of momentum. I think they're going Omaha.
Kelly, you want a little quick fact about Omaha?
What's up?
Council Bluffs, Iowa is 1 mile away from Omaha. Guess what else is 1 mile away?
What's that?
A casino. I greatly enjoyed
I'm sure
Omaha.
I'm sure. Hey, so let me ask y'all, and we might need to bring both those other guys on here. So last week, it was a question that I was going to ask. You remember 15 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, that they did something to the bats because they said Omaha was having too many home runs, and they virtually got it down the next year, put no ping in the bats. There was no pop to the bats, and nobody hit a home run. That's not still in existence now.
That was a while back. They changed the bats when we were in middle school, probably 7th and 8th grade. That was a while ago. It used to be dangerous how much pop the bats had them. They deadened them now, but from what I've seen, home runs have gone up this year. I don't know, because kids are stronger and things of that nature, but the home runs are up the last 2 years compared to they were in the past.
Well, I just wondered that. Yeah.
I actually saw an aluminum bat break this past weekend. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, when you get people doing shady things with them, like playing softball and going around, they get in there and they use a machine and they thin the bat out.
Yes.
And you'll see a bunch of those crack because they're thinning the bat out because you get more pop in the bat. So I'm sure that was going on back in the day without anybody knowing it. But those things can get dangerous, George, because if you mess around with them too much and you get that wall thinned down so much, that ball pops off that bat, and it can be dangerous.
I know we got to go to the break. We're a little late to it. Kelly, stat of the day is coming up. You had a good week. I have not recently. I've gone completely just goofy.
Brain dead.
Well, I didn't want to use that term, but
we're going to the MLB, so it might be George's day.
Yeah.
Well, this is George's wheelhouse.
That'd be good. After that, Kelly's World of Football, a feature that, I mean, everywhere I go, people say, when's it coming back?
I didn't think we were still doing it.
Truthfully, I've not had one person say that.
I know.
We're coming back.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general. Baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It is time for Saturday on this Reaction Monday. We'll see if Kelly Holcomb can continue his hot streak. Saturday, presented to you by John English Antique Sports and Cars, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee. 204 East Depot Street is where you can find them. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So give them a call at 931-492-4304. To the diamond we go. Ricky Henderson holds the Major League record for the most home runs to lead off the game, 81. Can you name the active player who has hit the most home runs from the leadoff spot in the order to start the game? Active player with the most home runs to start the game.
Okay, Kelly. Let me just
I'm out
start
again,
out.
George. I'm out again. Sorry.
Okay, let me just start out with an obvious here. Is it Ronald Acuna? Just give me a yes or a no.
It is not.
It is not Ronald Acuna.
Hasn't been around long enough.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Is he close?
I think he is close. He's in the 30s, I think. But this one has 55.
Then I would go with Mookie Betts.
Another good yes. It is not Mookie Betts.
Go ahead and hit the.
There is no buzzer. Sorry.
What? Why is that?
We've got to put it back in there.
Can we get an actual gong?
Now you want the buzzer? You've hated the buzzer all along.
What? Wait a minute. Where did you take? Did you take and hide the buzzer?
We made some adjustments with the music, so I guess we'll get the buzzer back if you really want it back.
Let's make a gong.
I was doing
gong
it too much. David's finger got sore from pressing the buzzer so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, you think that's really cute?
It's really sly there, Billy.
You know, we can solve that issue.
Kelly, you got nothing?
I'm trying to think of I don't keep up with it like y'all do. I'm just wondering leadoff guys.
Okay, let's run through a few of these. I'm going to throw one out there that's a wacko one. Charlie Blackmon?
It is not Charlie Blackmon. It is George Springer.
Wow. Because right now, he's not Toronto's leadoff hitter.
He is.
No, he isn't.
He is.
No, he isn't. I watched them a lot.
Day. He led off yesterday.
Billy, look it up.
He's still the answer to the question.
Fight.
Yeah.
George Springer.
Wow.
He's tied with Alfonso Soriano for second all time.
Okay, if you didn't know the answer, Billy, because you knew it ahead of time.
I don't think he did.
I did not know this.
Did you think the ones that I put out there were pretty good?
Those were good guesses.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts was really good. I thought that was it when you said it.
Just think about that, though. Ricky Henderson at 81.
Well, Ricky Henderson was a beast.
I've been trying to get Ricky Henderson's name in there for months, and y'all bring up something that has Ricky Henderson in it.
Go back to the question for just a second, if you can.
Yeah, I butchered the ending of it. I said from the leadoff spot in the order, but I meant to start the game.
Who has hit the most? Okay. Well, now that does change.
But I read it to you correctly.
In other words, as the leadoff batter to start the game.
Correct.
That would be the leadoff hitter, though.
So, Kelly, there's been some pilot error here.
But would that not be the leadoff hitter in the lineup?
Well, now, hold on a second.
But I read it to you the way it was intended to be.
But I read it that way.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a way to.
George, you're the guy that holds the red pen, man. I mean, all you can do is dock these guys and pay. That's all I'm saying.
So, do you think we need to publicly flog them? I mean, what are you looking for here?
Oh, absolutely. Public humiliation is the best.
Excellent. You want some public humiliation?
Absolutely.
Here's your open. It's a moment you have breathlessly awaited. It's time for Kelly Holcomb's World of Football. As shocking as this may sound, Kelly Holcomb's World of Football has sponsors. It's brought to you in part by Baird Financial with Yaz Hassan and Justin Oldham, and by State Farm Insurance, located in Murfreesboro, through agent Celeste Middleton. Oh, what happened?
Well played, George. Well played.
Yeah, you like that?
That was good. That was on your feet, man. That was really good. That's something that I struggle with sometimes.
So let's be honest here, Kelly. It's in June, okay? For about the next 6 weeks, there's only so many football things we can get to.
Yeah,
there's only so many different ways you can bat around the SEC football schedule. Okay? But we are striving here on this show for excellence. And also, at times, wasting time.
Wasting some time. That's what that's called in the radio TV world. We're wasting time.
Filler.
This
may be one of those.
I had to fill at the state championship games with Jeff Him. No, it wasn't with Jeff Him. It was with another guy. But I had to fill because the game went over our allotted time, the game before, and the teams that were going out on the field have a certain amount of time that they get to warm up. So it was 40 minutes of just talking. Pretty tough.
Talk. Okay, so Kelly today came up with his vision, his world of football, of the 5 NFL coaches who are most on the hot seat. Now, is this in hot seat order?
That's not in hot seat order. I just wrote them down. It's not in
These are
order.
just 5 that you think have got a little burr up there.
We could throw a few more in there. I mean, I could throw a very one in there that would shock people, but I don't think he's in the hot seat. But
are you thinking of somebody in the 615 area code?
Well, you could make a case for him as well. But
I'm asking, is that what you were?
No, it's not. It's not him. No, it's not him. But you said
honorable mention.
You said that the owner. You said that the owner absolutely loves him, so he's in no hot seat.
I don't see that. That would come under the category in Associated Press. Others receiving votes.
There you go. That's like honorable mention.
Okay. Let's show the first one that Kelly thinks has a little Bunsen burner up his butt. And that's Dennis Allen, the coach with the Saints. Now, help me here, Kelly. This is year number 2 for him. It seems a little unfair.
Well, I'll tell you what's unfair is my good friend and former Vanderbilt player, David Culley, who went to Houston Texans for a year and got fired. That's unfair. All right. So Dennis Allen, obviously he's a defensive coordinator. I've always thought, George, that when you start climbing the echelon of coaching and you get into college coaching, big time Power 5 college coaching, and you get to the NFL, I've always thought that you need to be a head coach before you're a coordinator. And Dennis Allen is the defensive coordinator. That's what he's always done. But if you look at all these, George, and I'm going to give you a nugget here to begin with, like if you look at all these teams other than one, they really don't have an established quarterback, George. I mean, they traded for Derek Carr. I don't know if they traded for him. I think did he get released, guys? I don't remember, but they've got Derek Carr.
He did.
Yeah, and then they've got Jameis Winston, who I really liked Jameis Winston when he was at Florida State. I can remember Jameis Winston making a play, and I don't know if it was in the national championship game, but as a quarterback, and I've said this before to you, if you're going to be a good quarterback, you got to stand in knowing that middle linebacker is blitzing, and we screwed up the O-line assignment up front, and you're going to get hit in the mouth, and there's a guy running wide open down the seam, and can you deliver that ball? Or are you going to take off running? Now, a lot of them today take off running. Now, Jameis Winston's not a fast guy. But I saw him take that shot, and I'm like, that dude right there is pretty good. Like, it takes a lot for me to tell, like, my good and other people's good are not on the same wavelength. So I always thought Jameis Winston was a good player. But when he went to Tampa and Bruce was the quarterback, I said, Bruce, you got to keep him from throwing those picks. He turns the ball over too much. And you know, Bruce is like, well, I'll fix him. I said, okay, good luck with that. And it never happened. So last year, Jameis played, and he's a turnover magnet. They brought Derek Carr in, and they've also brought John Gruden in to be a consultant to try to help him because I'm sure they're running the same type of offense that they ran with the Raiders when Derek Carr was there. So I think Dennis Allen's got to win this year. His defense is really good. When Brady played them with Tampa Bay, they had no answers for them, and they were really bad. But defensively, they were really good, and they got some guys that can rush the passer. But you got that 2 to 3 year window, George, and this is his second year. And if he might get a third year if Derek Carr plays well, and they still have some struggles. But I just think he's one of those guys that's on the hot seat because he's got to win, and that's you got to win right now league at this point in time.
Okay, a couple of thoughts on your thoughts. Number one, it's really hard in New Orleans right now to be a quarterback because nobody is Drew Brees.
Right.
Brees put a standard of excellence together, a love in that community. He was the total package for the Saints.
Certainly.
Nobody's going to be that. Derek Carr's going to try. I wish him a lot of luck because I like Derek Carr. I think he's a really good human being. I think he's a pretty good quarterback.
I do too.
You're right. The thing in Houston was a travesty. What went on with David Culley is obscene.
Yeah, a good friend of mine
they
too.
treated
It's
him.
obscene.
I hope he got a lot of money because he got treated like fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So Dennis Allen, it seems to me, it is all down to Derek Carr. If Derek Carr's good, then Dennis Allen will do okay in New Orleans. If he's not, he's gone.
That's what every team's down to, George. It's such a quarterback-friendly league now. You don't get hit. It's a passing league. That's why you don't see running backs taken much anymore in the top echelon of the draft. That was the surprising thing to me with the Jahmyr Gibbs kid going to Detroit. Now, he can do other things. Now, the Bijan Robinson kid's a little different. He's kind of like Adrian Peterson when I was with him as a rookie coming out. He's one of those generational talents that can do it all. Plus, he can catch it out of the backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a third down type of guy. He can still do it on first and second down, but you just don't see running backs going like they used to. That's why it's so important that you have a guy that's under center or behind center now. Nobody takes a snap under center much anymore. But it's important that you got that guy in place and that you can coach him and you keep him healthy.
Okay, coach number 2 is Mr. Staley. Mr. We're going for it on fourth down, even if it doesn't make sense. People like Riverboat Gambler, but Kelly, at times with him, it's gotten stupid.
Yeah, but I'm a big fourth down guy. I'm with that Pulaski Academy guy down in Arkansas, especially in high school football. I really am. I tried to get our guy to go for it because you've got 4 downs, and now some teams are really good, obviously, and I don't know if that could ever translate to the NFL, but I do like going for it. Now, sometimes he does get a little crazy with it, but he's the only guy in these 5 guys that's really got now we've got some guys like Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo who've played and who've won a lot of games, but we don't know how good they're going to play with their new teams. I mean, the different circumstances present different situations and different problems sometimes. So he's really the only guy that's got Justin Herbert, who is a phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal quarterback. They kicked his contract down the road this year. They're going to have to pay him to keep him. But I think a lot of this stems from what happened in Jacksonville last year, because when you're up in a game like that on the road, you've got a defense like you do. You cannot do that. As the head coach, we talked about those defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators being head coach. I just don't like it, but he's the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. And when your side of the ball that you're over allows the Jacksonville Jaguars, now they played really well in the second half, but when you have 4 turnovers in a game, George, and it's in the first half, you should not lose that game. Should not lose it. And that's where all this is stemming from. He's got to figure out a way to get over winning games like that. He's got to win games that are close like that. And that seems like it's been that way for the last couple of years since he's been the head coach. He just cannot get over the hump when it's a really meaningful game. Just like in Jacksonville, he was up a bunch and he let it get away from him. So can't do that this year. If he does, he's gone. But you've got the guy under center that if he just fixes that defense and he fixes things and maybe not go for it so much on fourth down, I'm kind of with you in the NFL. If he can get that thing on a roll and he can get back to the playoffs, he's got one of the young great quarterbacks in the league.
He could back there.
Yeah, he could stay there for a long time.
Billy, this is what Kelly's talking about. LA Chargers at Titans, week number 2. Who's kidding who? The the Chargers are more talented. Agree?
Absolutely.
Agree.
Okay. That's a game they have to win.
Yep.
That's the kind of game that ultimately, when they don't win it, that will get Brandon Staley fired.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
It's like he just barely escaped last year.
Yeah.
You know? And the Jacksonville game was kind of that was a red flag.
Well, when you're in the NFL, I mean, that happens sometimes, and y'all both know that happens sometimes. It happened to me when I played in Pittsburgh. We were up 33-13, and we got beat. You just – at the NFL level, at the professional level, you cannot do that, and you cannot do that multiple times, or you're going to get looked at by the owner.
Who's going to give you the big –
Yeah. We're going in a different direction, Hoss.
You got to remember now that Kellen Moore is on that staff now as offensive coordinator.
Correct.
He's a head coach in waiting, so that fire is going to get lit.
Well,
under
now
Staley.
that's what you say, okay? I say he runs a dull offense.
He had Dak Prescott at quarterback. I'd rather have Justin Herbert than Dak, in my opinion.
That may be the case. I'm just saying that right now, The book on Kelvin Moore, it's a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know how that's going to fit. I didn't mind him. I'm kind of like David on that. He had Dak, and sometimes when Dak gets in a funk, you got to treat him with kid gloves, and I think that's what he got. But the whole thing with Mike McCarthy is he didn't think Kellen Moore ran the ball enough, and they've got an offensive line that can do that. They've got an offensive line kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles and the teams that can run it down your throat. So maybe that's the deal. But he's got a guy that can throw it in San Diego. So if he's a throw-happy offensive coordinator, he'll love that.
Okay, coach number 3 is Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. Now, year number 1 was sort of a semi-disaster. It just didn't work out real well. And, of course, at the end, remember, they had a game where they won, for a team that didn't get in there, didn't get in the playoffs. One of their victories was that miracle against the Patriots.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. It'll go back with the cliche of some offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators just are not very good head coaches. And he's already done this. We've already had this once in Denver. So I don't know, George. I think he's got Jimmy Garoppolo, who Jimmy Garoppolo was with him in New England. He backed up Tom Brady. So I think there's some familiarity there. Obviously, they're going to run the same offense that they ran in New England. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, is a good player. He just has had the injury bug the last couple of years. He took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. He's taken them to an NFC Championship game. There've been a lot of haters on Jimmy Garoppolo, but the guy wins ball games. Now, he was with a really talented football team on both sides of the ball. I get that, but it's just going to be interesting to see what Josh McDaniel does, because at this point, I think y'all would agree with me. Like, what has he done as a head coach? He's done everything with Tom Brady. We get that. We understand that. The greatest quarterback ever that's won seven Super Bowls, and he's been there 10 times. But can he do it with somebody else? And that's what we got to find out.
Right. And if it doesn't happen, he'll end up back in Belichick's halfway house.
That's right. And he's got one of the he's got one of the best receivers in the league, top 5 in Devontae Adams. So
he sure does.
But they did lose Darren Waller, which was a big piece. He's a really good player. He's a really good tight end.
I wouldn't have let him out of the building.
No, he's one of those, like, I'm not putting him on Travis Kelce's plateau just yet, but he's a good player. He's hard to cover, and he's very lengthy. He's got big arms. He's got a good catch radius. He'll go up and get that ball. So that's one of those deals where you hate to lose him, but we'll see what Jimmy Garoppolo does and if he gets it turned around for Josh McDaniel.
Okay, so we've got 3 thus far that we've identified. Dennis Allen in New Orleans. We've also gone, obviously, with Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. We've gone Brandon Staley with the Chargers. Who's number 4 on the list?
Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera.
And a little side note, Ron Rivera and I had the same agent, so I know quite a bit about Ron Rivera, but all of he's had some health struggles as well. But if you look at it, George, he has not had a supplanted starter in there since he's been there. I mean, now they got Sam Howell, which he was good in college, but college and pros are totally different. They brought in Jacoby Brissett. They got Jake Fromm. I understand all that, but they do not have a cemented starter there. And this is a huge year for him. I think they brought in a new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, Eric Bieniemy, EB, who I was with EB in Minnesota, and that guy right there is he is very intense. And there were many days where I thought him and Adrian Peterson were going to come to blows. I love EB because he's very intense. He's a confident guy. But they just don't have somebody at the quarterback position, George. And we know that if you look at all these coaches, other than Brandon Staley, they just don't have a quarterback there that they know what they're going to get just yet with the team that they're with. And they've got a young guy in Sam Howell, which I'm sure they're probably high on. I'm not sure what they did with Chase Young. You guys remember what they did with Chase Young? They didn't bring him back, did they?
They did not. And they also didn't bring back Heineke.
Yeah, no, I knew they didn't bring back Heineke. He's kind of one of those guys that it just seems like, and I like him because I was in the same boat as Taylor Heineke. I understand the boat that he's in, but can he get you things? Like he's always playing because always the guy in front of him gets hurt. So he's always playing. So I can understand why you do that, why you let him go. And obviously they're really high on Sam Howell, but Chase Young's not back, which I think is he's a really good player now. He's had a bunch of injuries, and if you're not going to be on the field, then what good are you? I don't care how much money we've paid you or how good you are, but this is a year for Ron Rivera. He's such a nice guy too, George. He's a really good guy. He's been through a lot with his health. He's been through a lot in football, but he's by far the calmest guy I've ever seen on a sideline because things are going crazy, and he's just always calm. So you want him to succeed. You really do.
Okay, let me throw a couple of things out there. So you're going to have a new owner walk in at some point, and little small stuff and the wife are going to be out of the picture, supposedly. Now, when Rivera got there, it was basically a one flew over the cuckoo's nest. All kinds of rumors of misbehavior by ownership. Is it really fair with a new owner coming in? And I know where that goes. A new owner may say, I want my own person.
Right.
But I think Rivera has kept that ship from absolutely turning into the Hindenburg.
I think you're absolutely right. I think he's done a really good job of keeping the train on the tracks. That's for sure, because you're right, George. It's when you come into the league and try to buy a Super Bowl with getting Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith and all the big name guys, that doesn't make a team. You got too many egos with that, and you're going to have some egos on your team. But when you get too many, it's too much. And he really thought that he was going to come in and buy him a Super Bowl. I think Ron Rivera has done a really good job of what he's had to work with.
Okay, let's check out the last of the five. The Bunsen burner is on Todd Bowles in Tampa. Now, Kelly, you got to help me here, because this is just an observation that I have with no proof. During a game, I look at Todd Bowles and I see nothing. I see him whine and complain at times, but I don't see anything that looks like a defensive coordinator, which is his stock and trade, doing a ton of coaching.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this, George. I hate putting this on there because T. Bowles was a coach when I was with the Cleveland Browns, and I love T. Bowles.
Okay.
A really good guy. You're right. He doesn't raise his voice much. He really doesn't. That's not who he was. He played at Temple a long time ago under Bruce Arians. So that's why Bruce has taken him to Arizona, and Bruce has taken him, brought him to Tampa. He's done the same thing with a guy named Todd McNair. You remember Todd McNair played for the Chiefs. So Bruce is very loyal with that. And he wanted to help T. Bowles get that job at Tampa. He's already done it in New York. Didn't turn out well. Last year was abysmal. They were just not very good. He let go of Byron Leftwich, which I don't know what was going on. One of my older coaches, Tom Moore, is down there, and I haven't talked to Tom in a while. Of course, Tom gives you nothing. He's one of those real loyal guys, and you ask him a question, and he's like, "None of my business, sons. None of my business." So that's kind of the way he is. But I really hate saying that, but yeah, he's kind of on the hot seat. You look at what they've got. They've got Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was the number one pick, and now a couple of years later, this is his fourth or fifth team that he's with. And on my observation of Baker Mayfield is when he was coming out of Oklahoma, I really liked him. I thought he was an accurate guy. I thought he's one of he's one of those guys that your offensive line guys want to hang out with, want to fight for, and then from there on, it just went downhill. He's not accurate anymore. That comes with coaching. Even though you're in the NFL, you still have to be coached. And that was one of the great lines I said I heard said by Joe Montana when Mike Holmgren took the quarterback job. He's like, I want you to coach me and get on to me. And Mike Holmgren said, I will. Absolutely. So you still got to be coached in that league, but some guys don't. And I feel like that he's gotten into that, and his footwork is just not very good. And then Kyle Trask is behind him, who I've always liked Kyle Trask. I think he's a pretty good player. He didn't come up the easy way. There was only one team that liked him. That was Florida, because he went to a camp there, worked his way up, played really well. He played in that dadgum bowl game where he had nobody to throw the ball to, which I felt so sorry for him, and it just didn't look good. That shows you what players do for you. But I hate saying that about T. Bowles because I love him to death. I still text him every now and then. But he's on the hot seat. He's got to win this year.
Okay, we'll go to the break, Kelly, and then we'll have the Plaster Bet of the Day. That's coming up after the break. And then after that, after the gloating is over, we will then have a final break and tell you about tomorrow's show. In other words, Kelly, I did a lot of winning this weekend. Stay tuned.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome back in. It is time for Plaster's Bet of the Day on this Reaction Monday. Bet of the Day presented to you by Bart Durham Injury Law Firm. They are, simply put, the best in the business. They are lawyers you can trust. So give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. And for George, it was a perfect weekend.
Yes.
I see you, George.
Yeah.
I see you.
You clowns were about to sell me down the river. So to quote Lee Corso, put me on camera so I can do a Corso. Not so fast, my friend.
Kelly, you need to remind him of that record. He's still one below.
Yeah,
That's your job.
He's still not
That's
500 yet. He wouldn't be probably close to 500 if y'all would have kept up with the ties.
378 bets, and I am 1 under 500.
Hey, cross a river, George.
You know, if you had somebody, some slappy, the record could be like 120 and 230.
We need to stop around July 11th.
And then start a new year.
See if you're above 500. That'll be the fun part.
Time out. So you're not a slappy, George?
In a lot of ways, yes.
Yeah.
But
okay.
on this particular promotion, oh no, that's you all were about to write me off. Your intention was to get in here today and rip me a new one. You're 7 under 500. You're horrible. I was 3-0.
Kelly, you know how to get him? You got to remind him that he was 15 above 500 at one point.
You know what? This is.
I remember that. He's got
all this gambling.
He's got a short memory.
Okay, if it were that easy, then those casinos wouldn't have those beautiful chandeliers that they have.
Hey, did we want my honorable mention? Did we want my honorable mention about the coach?
Oh, sure. Sure, go right ahead.
So let me throw this out there.
Into my little parade with your silly world.
So let me throw this out there.
Okay.
How does a Bill Belichick disappear?
Nah.
I understand that, but I'm just saying he's got at some point. I mean, we've got to. I mean, at some point, he's not going to be the coach of the New England Patriots anymore. So will that be a resignation? Obviously.
That would be a retirement. Come on, he's almost 70.
The one name I thought you were going to have on there was Mike McCarthy, who's going to be under the hot seat.
Well, I mean, Mike McCarthy he's one of those that I could put on there too, because we've talked about that as well. I mean, that's why I think he got rid of Kellen Moore, because if he goes down, he's going down calling his own stuff.
Yeah, and then a sneaky one I thought of was Robert Saleh with the Jets. If they are bad this year, I think somebody's got to pay the piper for that one. So.
It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers.
No, absolutely not.
Who seems to have a much more modern hairdo all of a sudden. That stringy crap that he had in Green Bay. Now he's back to normal Aaron.
It's like a brand new man.
He's playing the company line.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? So Kelly,
yes, sir.
We're going to get to 500 tonight.
Okay,
and we're going to do it. This is a tricky one. We're going Vegas Golden Knights again. But here's the little caveat. The Florida Panthers throughout these playoffs have not died at all. Every time somebody had them backed in the corner, boom. A minute left in the Boston series where they should have gotten eliminated, boom. All of a sudden Saturday night, there was no boom. They got up early and Vegas hit them with a Mack truck, beat them 5-2. That makes me wonder if Florida is sort of on their last legs. If they are, I'm getting to 500 tonight.
Go Panthers. I'll be checking in on that one. You can rest assured.
Kelly behind you all the way, George.
Yeah, way to be a team player, you dog. By the way, for those of you who maybe have no clue how long this kind of crap's been going on, from the day he and I met each other, it has always been like this.
That's really funny too, George, because I got on you the first day I met you, which is in the we were at 104.5.
That's right, in that old studio.
Yep.
And the first break, I didn't even know what you looked like. You walk in, and 10 minutes in, we go to a commercial break, and you start dogging me.
I don't remember what I dogged you about, but that's what I do. Sorry.
Right.
Now, I've had to calm down. My wife told me when I finished playing ball, because I did that to everybody, and she was like, people are going to hate you if you don't stop making fun of everybody. And I'm like, I mean, grow up a little bit. Laugh at yourself some.
Kelly.
Okay, hold on. Let's do just real quickly. Billy, do you hate Kelly?
I don't hate Kelly,
Okay.
but I was going to say Kelly was dogging his son out of the womb. That's what I've gathered.
David, do you hate Kelly?
I could never hate Kelly. We're kindred spirits.
Okay.
That's right, man. Hate is a strong word, George.
Hold
Hate's
on a
really
second.
strong.
Billy asked the question.
George, do you hate Kelly?
I do. No, I absolutely do not. This has been a lot of fun working with him. When does Watson come back? God, I need him back.
Is he coming back? I mean,
He's
is he
coming back at some point. And then you are out of here.
I thought we were talking about me staying. Am I not staying anymore?
I don't know. We've got a lot of executive decisions.
I can't wait to get on the air with Billy. I mean, it'll be much more cohesion between me and Billy, and much better TV podcast.
Cats out of the bag before they need to be let out of the bag.
Well, I don't know. I mean, hey, we don't know what's going on. You know that. You're the red pen guy, so we don't know. I mean, it could be
I don't know what's going on. There is the red pen, by the way. We'll go to the break, and then we'll tell you about what's happening tomorrow. Big day, Sports Speaker Series number 2, presented by Wilson Bank and Trust. We'll talk about it next.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
So tomorrow's a big day for the show, the second of our Sports Speaker Series presented by Wilson Bank and Trust tomorrow during the lunchtime from 11:30 in the morning till about 12:45, give or take a few minutes. By the way, if you're coming, try to get here 11:20, 11:25 for the whole deal. So Candace Lee is Vanderbilt's athletic director, and whether she ever wanted to be or not, she kind of turned into a trailblazer. First of all, she's a woman athletic director on the Division I level. She's also a female athletic director who is African American on the Division I level. Mm-hmm. Those two facts right there make her kind of a trailblazer. We're going to talk about that during the first segment, segment of the interview. In the second segment, we're going to get into some of the things that are going on right now at Vandy, because there's been talk for years about the need for facilities upgrades. Best as I can tell, she's the only athletic director that has gotten the money to do those things. And now both end zones have been pretty much blown out. People are kind of curious, what are they going to do with the old horseshoe end zone? Because there's a lot of space there and a lot of cool things that could be done. They've just announced the baseball renovation of Hawkins Field with some pretty cool looking diagrams there. So, Kelly, there's a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow. Obviously, we will take questions out of the audience. I'll tell you now, we try really hard to get a good, accurate count. My guess is we're going to be in the 75 to 100 range tomorrow for this one. If you want to come, if you'll simply email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com to reserve a space. We'd love to have you. We've got the room.
Yeah, and George, you're right. She's a trailblazer, but she's got a really tough job. I mean, you talked about this the other day on the phone. I mean, you got the Vandy boys, the Vanderbilt baseball team, obviously getting eliminated yesterday, which they're upset, but they're really carrying the baton for Vanderbilt right now. Clark Lee's he's trying to get this thing going. Women's basketball, men's basketball. She's got a tough job right now. She's got a tough sale, and seems like right now she's up to the task.
I think, Billy, you follow this really close. I think as time has gone on, people have been more and more, accepting of her.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to accept, a Vanderbilt athletic director over the years. I mean, there's been some good ones, some bad ones, but for what she's done in the short amount of time has been unbelievable. Now, nothing's actually happened, but I say that, I mean, the end zones are gone already. I mean, in a short amount of time. So, I don't think there's ever been an AD quite like her. I mean, she went to Vanderbilt. She played basketball there. She was a great athlete. She understands what has to be done and what it takes at Vanderbilt. And so it's going to be fun. There, like you said, there's a lot to talk about. And I think her aggression in this day and age is big. It's huge. Now, I think they're a little bit behind. So, from before she got here. But, I mean,
way behind.
She has quickly, sort of plugged that hole a little bit, at least started to. And I think it's making an early difference. So, I think Vandy fans should be pleased and excited about this tomorrow.
Put the graphic back up there for just a second. So, again, this is tomorrow around 11:30 in the morning. It'll run until around 12:45. If you would like to come, it's not too late, but I need you to email me at plastergeorge@gmail.com. If you want to bring a friend or two, let me know that as well. Just tell me the number. We'll find the room. I think we've got the space. So excited about that. Kelly, I guess that means you get the day off.
That's what I was going to ask you. I think I get the day off tomorrow. So I'm definitely good with that, George.
Go play golf.
Got other things to do.
Get out. Get some fresh air.
Go fishing.
try to come back Wednesday with a better attitude.
I went fishing the other day. David, I went fishing the other day. I am a team player. I just don't like you
when
winning.
you say you're rooting against me, that's not a team player.
Yeah, but that's just one thing. I mean, I overall, I do kind of like you. I'm not going to tell anybody that. But, David, I did go fishing the other day in my pond, and I was racking it up.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, yeah, where's my invite, Kelly?
Yeah, no, that's probably never happening. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with y'all guys.
And I'll be honest as well. I'd rather go to a Braves game.
Sure. See
Kelly,
y'all.
see you on Wednesday.
See ya.
See all of you tomorrow. Tune in. Come out to the Fordyce Center in Bellevue where we will do the Candace Lee Sports Speaker Series. And my thanks to the good folks at Wilson Bank and Trust who have sponsored this. See you tomorrow.